Rock isn't dead. It's in flux.
Hi everyone, I'm Britt with Rock and Flux, and I am joined today by Bryan of the band Fame on Fire. Bryan, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Britt. Really appreciate it.
Sure. So I always ask this question first, and so I'm sorry to any fans who are listening who already know this, but give me the background of Fame on Fire, how you guys came to be a band, and where you got to where you are today, or how you got there.
Yeah, totally. So we actually started as a band on complete accident. It all started out with our drummer, Alex Roman. He wanted to do a drum cover of Katy Perry's Unconditionally because at the time, it was a very popular thing to do was drum covers of things. So he wanted to do a drum cover. And so I had a home studio and Blake and I worked out the drums with Alex and we put it together. I'm like, oh, this is dope. And then Blake went off on his own accord and Blake's like, what if I threw some guitar on this? So Blake was in my studio and he's recording guitar. He's like, oh, this sounds really dope now. And he goes, okay, this is a little weird just having guitar and drums only. He's like, what if we got somebody to sing this? And then they came to me and they're like, hey, Bryan, do you want to sing this? And I was like, no, I don't want to sing this. I'm not really a singer. I don't want to really be in a band or anything like that. And they're like, oh, dude, come on, just give it a try. And I was like, no. So after Blake begging me for the better half of a week, he's like, dude, just do it. Give it a try. And if it sucks, well, I'll never ask you again. I was like, okay, fine. I'll give it a try. So I gave it a try, sang it, did the production, did the mixing, and then Alex was like, okay, I want to film a video for it. And I was like, cool, film a video. Because we're like, oh, this is pretty cool. So we filmed the video for it. Alex paid for literally everything. I also charged him for the recording of it. So we put the video out, and our band name is not Fame on Fire. It's literally Alex Roman, Katy Perry Unconditionally cover. And so we put that out and hear nothing of it. And a week later, people start blowing us up on Twitter and are texting us and like, dude, you guys are being played on radio. We're like, what the fuck? What are you being played on radio for? They're like your cover of Katy Perry's Unconditionally. And we're like, that's crazy. And then we go look at the YouTube video, and the YouTube video at the time had 60,000 plays on it, which is a lot for us at the time where we were used to having no plays. And so we were like, okay, this is a little crazy. So Blake and I sat down the next day and we're like, hey, what do we do about this? I was like, I feel like we got to be a band. And Blake's like, yeah, we do. And I was like, what should we call ourselves? And he's like, I've had a band name for a while. Let's call it Fame on Fire. I said, great, let's do that.
What made him think of that as the name? Do you know?
I genuinely have no idea.
Okay.
He's just had it in his back pocket. And I know that we've correlated to taking a famous song and setting it on fire, but that's not the true meaning of it. I don't know what the true meaning of it is. I just think it's a cool name that Blake had lined up. And so from there, we're like, let's be a band. Let's make some music together. Let's make covers together. Let's do all this sorts of things. And, slowly but surely, we've worked our way up through the years. And now we're on our third record now.
Right. And you had just now 2 singles, and I think you just released another new single.
Yeah.
So the one that I wanted to talk to you about was Nightmare, The Devil, and Spiral. I know you already have on the Nightmare song over 2 million streams. So I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about streaming as a musician? Because obviously it's helped you guys probably a lot, but I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. So for you, what are your thoughts on the fact that it's been so successful for you, and in general, how do you feel about streaming?
I'm really stoked that it's been successful, and it makes me really happy that people are very receptive to the meaning of the song and the song itself. And I am personally a fan of my band. I love listening to our music, which is really funny because a lot of people hate themselves, but for that regard, I absolutely love it. But yeah, as far as streaming goes, I go through it because it's I feel like it's a necessary evil because I use streaming services. But some streaming services like Spotify are just so fucking tone deaf to the industry. I genuinely have a hatred in my soul for Spotify, because they don't pay artists enough. And they're just very tone deaf about how they talk to artists. Their CEO, I think he was a couple months back, he was just he's making music's free. I don't get why people are complaining.
I was going to bring that up. I remember that when he said that, and it's there is absolutely a cost. Even if you have a studio in your home, right? You still have to buy the equipment to do it. And it's a time cost too, because you're spending the time to do that, right?
Yeah,
So
we pay so much money to record one song.
I believe it.
One song costs us probably like Nightmare alone has probably cost us like 30 grand.
Right. If you're going to do it like right, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you want
Right.
to, if you want to do your music right, if you want to have any hope of promoting it, we have not made 30 grand on that song. We've made, as a band, we have made $0 on that song, and I don't know if we'll ever see money from that song. But it's like we spend all this money in like that, and we put it on this platform, and like we are the reason this platform is held to such high regard, and they want to treat us like that. Now you can also have the argument, if not for the platform, you wouldn't be as big as you are. That's true, but somebody else would have came along. Like, I'm a big advocate that I honestly think that Apple Music needs to get their shit together and like make a better interface, because more people should use Apple Music.
See, but they don't care about that. Like, that's a lost leader to them, right? Because they care about people buying the actual like tech products they have. They'll sell the music just as like, another point that they can make a sale or like get people to buy it,
But that's why Apple Music pays out. They pay out almost 3 times what Spotify pays out, which is insane. And it's like, what the fuck is Spotify doing to be so much more expensive than Apple Music, and also just so disrespectful to their artists? I don't know. It's yeah, it's a thing that like I use streaming services, but like it is what it is. But I appreciate the streaming services that actually like pay out artists fair wages.
And I mean, like, as a band, what do you guys rely on? Like merch and like actual record sales to, that's what you rely on, right?
Yeah, it's not even record sales, because we don't see any of that shit.
You don't print anything? Like, okay.
No, the label really takes everything from us when it comes to music sales. We rely on merch and touring. And without merch, without touring, we don't make any money. That's why there was such an uproar. I don't know if you remember this, but the Live Nation shit, where they're like, Live Nation's literally taking 20% merch cuts from us.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And, yeah. Here's the fun thing, though, that we do in the industry when we tour. We lie to them and we do a fake count in and a fake count out, so they don't really know how much we sold. I'm like, oh, slow night, we only sold $1,000 when you could have sold 5,000. And so you really only pay them $200 instead of paying them $1,000.
Right. I mean, that's smart. You got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
Live Nation stopped doing that though. But
yeah, well, I mean, but they've gotten in trouble so many times, even with the fees to fans who want to buy tickets, and like they got sued, and the fees are still like hugely ridiculous.
Yeah, I was going to buy tickets online to a show recently, and it was like a local show. It was like a local show. Well, it wasn't that local. It was a tour package, but like it was a small venue. It was like a 500 cap venue. And I was gonna buy it online, but it's like it's a Ticketmaster venue, and so it's like, yeah, I went to a show and like the ticket at the door was $25, but like, and they're like, oh, you can just buy it online, and I was like, okay, cool. So I went to go online, and I was like, I'm literally buying like one ticket and it's $15 in fees.
Right. And the ticket, it's like, sometimes it's almost the ticket price too, because like some of those smaller shows aren't necessarily expensive. It's ridiculous.
It is absolutely absurd. But yeah, they tried making it better for us, like giving us like tour support packages, which is basically like, they're like, here's $750, and then we're gonna give you $750 in gas cards. When you tour, you don't usually go to a Shell gas station. They gave us Shell gas cards. And
yeah, because how many of those are actually around, even though? You know what I mean? There's not always Shells in every city, I don't think.
No, there really isn't. And so it's just like they gave everybody a bunch of Shell gas cards. We had 26 Shell gas cards for like $250.
Just give like a general gift card or something, like a Visa one.
Just give us cash.
Well, that too, yeah.
Well, eventually they did stop to the gift cards and started giving cash, which was great. Yeah. So, yeah. Big corpse.
I know. It's crazy. So I do want to talk about you, like more about your music. So let me ask you this, because I ask everyone who comes on the show. So for people who are listening who maybe haven't listened to you all before, and they ask like, what song should I start out listening to? What do you think you would suggest to them to start with?
I feel like it really depends on their take on like what kind of music they really like. But a safe one to go with would be Nightmare.
Okay, I like that one.
I feel like this is a very safe one. If they're listening to this after our record is out, if this is after September 6th, then I would say go listen to Chains.
I'm sorry if I'm not myself. I've been going through it and it feels like hell. Living with these memories, they don't help. Looking back and it's been so long. You wouldn't even know it cause you've been gone. I can feel it coming but I gotta move on. I'm lucid and fighting my way out the dark. Trying to breathe, overwhelmed by my thoughts. Facing myself but I don't know where to start. I'm in the middle of a nightmare. I need to go away. I'm buried under the broken dreams. I don't know who to blame.
Any reason why?
It's just an awesome song. It's dancey. It's fun.
Yeah, you guys do incorporate a lot of different styles in your music. I mean, obviously you're a rock band. And I wanted to ask you, what is it about rock music that you all love that made you want to continue? I know you started with a Katy Perry song, which is a pop song, but obviously, you did a cover of that. But what is it about that style that speaks to you all that you want to make that music?
It's the aggression of it. It's the aggression and the emotion because, pop can feel very forced and flat. That's why artists like, Billie Eilish, she does really well because she has the emotion behind her music, and it's very much carried by the emotion.
She's very talented too, which is not always found, not today anyway.
Talent's I feel like the bottom line. Like you need to have talent in order.
But some people don't, and they, debatably make it. You know what I mean? So.
I mean, that is true too. But I feel like to really elevate yourself, I feel like you need the emotion in the music, but rock has the little edge to it where it has that's why we say it's got edge because it's not just emotional, but it's an angry emotion. It has more of a primal emotion behind it than your standard pop song or your standard indie rock song. It has just more of a it's just it makes you feel, it makes you want to punch a wall sometimes, which I personally love.
Yeah.
Attitude. It's got a lot of attitude.
Yeah, I agree. And did you always grow up liking rock music or did you not get into it until you were older?
I grew up listening to Linkin Park, when I was a kid. Linkin Park, was very much what I would listen to. Linkin Park and other boy bands and stuff, but Linkin Park would always it was just I was how children just repeat the same thing over and over again. Yeah.
I still do that now though. If I find a song I really like, I'll play that.
Honestly, same. But that was me with Linkin Park, and I would just listen to their first album on repeat all day.
It still stands up. They've come up a lot on this show, and everybody agrees. That album, you can still listen to it, and it still sounds like it could be new. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Hybrid Theory is insane. But so I would listen to Linkin Park, and then as I got older, I moved to more mainstream hip hop type things, and I was listening to hip hop for a while, and then I eventually came back to rock, where I actually started getting more into the classics, Ozzy, and some '80s hair metal stuff, and then found Metallica, and then from there I was oh, who's this band Disturbed, and then from Disturbed I found Avenged Sevenfold, which that I was that's what I want to be. I want to be like that band. My band's nothing like that band, but I wanted to be like that band.
Yeah, but I get it. You still can take inspiration and not be exactly like it,
Yeah, exactly. That was the band that inspired me to pick up a guitar and play music.
So let me ask you this. At being a musician, what do you all feel are the biggest challenges to you?
I don't, as far as I think there's different levels to being a musician because being a musician at the level I'm at, it's going to be a lot of, being away from home, being on tour, those are usually really hard things. Writing music isn't too hard, but it's sometimes finding inspiration can be really hard. And writing a good song can be really hard because that does take time, and you just got to keep writing as many songs as you can. That's why songwriters will write literally 300 songs in a year, and then we might like 2 of them. So there's that aspect, and thinking being scared of what other people are going to think of your music. But I don't know. As far as like just an overall thing for musicians, I'm sure it's probably just going to be like songwriting and thinking and hoping people are going to like your songs, or even if like people think you're talented. There's a lot of insecurity that comes with it because you are exposing yourself, you are showing off what you have, and if people hate it, it can be very defeating.
Of course, because you care about it. That's why you're putting it out there. Nobody puts any kind of artistic endeavor out there for people to not like it. You want people to like it,
Exactly.
And so actually that was my other question is like, what are your songwriting challenges, which you've kind of already answered it, but and what's your process on songwriting? Like some bands, I always find it interesting how different bands approach it, because some write together, some have like one or two people that are the main songwriters. How do you guys approach that?
Well, it's slowly changed over the years because it used to be a lot of just Blake and myself, our guitar player. Him and I used to just write most of the music together. And then we had a friend who would incorporate with us. His name is Eric. He has a producer named Arceus. We would work together, and it would just be like kind of us three writing music together. But the more we've evolved as a band, the more involved, our drummer has gotten, the more involved our bassist has gotten. Our bassist is actually a very important part of this new record because he had so much say in it, which was like super cool. Like, and I honestly think that's why it sounds the way that it does. But so, we have, right now it's us usually working together on things, and it needs to usually be us working together. Now we will be off on our own and send each other ideas and stuff like that. But it's going to be when we get the finite ideas, when we have a melody down, we're going to work it out in person. Like if it's not worked out in person, then like it's almost not fair if we're all trying to work together and make something better.
Right. And do you think that's the best part about being in a band is that you all get to do that versus being like a solo artist?
Yeah, I feel like as a solo artist, you can get really lost in your own sauce. And I feel like as a band, you have somebody that's going to be dead fucking honest with you. Even if they are rude about it, even if like you think they're wrong, they're going to be honest with the way that they feel. And they could be wrong too. They could be like completely off basis. And that's totally fine. Cause like I've been there before. I've been completely wrong about a song before. But like, it happens.
Well, and I mean, like that is the thing. I think it's good to have differences of opinion because sometimes people can point out something that you may not see and then it makes it better. You know what I mean? So it's
Totally.
Like, I do think that tends to work well with people that are not just like doing it alone.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I think it's super important to work together. But some solo artists can do it all on their own. Some bands can do it all on their own. I know that Noah from Bad Omens does a lot of things by himself. But like I think he also I don't know him that too well personally, but I think he does prefer to work with other people.
Yeah, because you kind of get on an island, like you need some kind of reassurance or like
Exactly.
just critique
Exactly.
or whatever.
Whenever I write a melody by myself, I need like that. I need that reassurance because or I'll just send it off a bit, guys. I don't fucking know about this one, but like check it out. Like I can't be confident in a melody ever until I have like second ears on it.
Because you all have done other covers too. Like I really like your cover of Without Me, the Halsey song.
Oh yeah,
you guys
thank
did
you.
that one. Like what made you choose that song? Are you Halsey fans? Like
Well, when we pick a cover, it has to be like a song that we can perform well. Like obviously it has to be a popular song, because why else would we do a cover? But it has to be a song that we can perform well. So for that song, we were like, can we hit this nicely? Like, how would it sound? How would I sound singing it? And like, it was a hard fucking song to sing, but like, it was also like, it had that emotion to it already. And we just needed to add that attitude of the rock music to it. And we're like, and then that's what makes it a really good Fame cover is like when it already is a song that you think we would write.
do you play any of the covers? Because I know you're going on tour. You've been on other tours like in the last few years as well. You guys tour a lot, but you have one coming up next month. It's going to start. Is it North America, or are you going to more than just North America?
It's just North America. I don't think there's no Canada. There's nowhere else.
How have the crowds been as far as response goes when you all play? And do you incorporate any of your cover songs into your live set, or do you mainly keep it original?
Crowds have been extremely receptive to us. We normally will play one or two covers, Usually, it's been more one lately. On the next one we're going on, I don't think we're playing any, because we love the covers that we've done. It's just it doesn't define us as an artist, right? And so we're like this. We did this, yes, but like we're here to showcase what we can.
Right. Do you ever throw it in as like a surprise? Like if you know it's a new crowd that really hasn't listened to you all before, like because a lot of the songs that you guys have covered would not be like expected. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like here's a
That is true.
curveball.
No, we never do. We have a set list and we stick to the set list. We don't deviate. We have everything worked out to even almost what I say on stage is pretty. Yeah, I'll say the same thing every fucking night. And honestly, if you ever want to look into this, every band will do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, because it just like makes it easier to have a format and timing that way.
Yeah, you get your timing down. You know the space in between the songs. You have everything pretty much figured out. If we have to stop the set, obviously it's a different case.
Well, I was gonna say, like, what happens if something occurs and like you've got to adjust? How do you handle that?
We stop the set. We make sure everybody is okay, and then we usually wait for security. If there's no security, then we'll figure it the fuck out then. But we usually wait for security to be like, you guys are good, and then we will proceed.
Right. Okay. So like it could be a situation where like somebody maybe got hurt or something like that.
Usually that's when you stop it. People will sometimes fight, and you stop the show. And stopping the show is really annoying, especially when people end up fighting because it's like
Just get along. Like you're here to hear music, and
people fighting is probably the most annoying thing at shows.
All right, now we're gonna get. This is a new thing that I'm doing in the show, and it's like we call it game, and it varies. So this game is called Unpopular Opinion, and it's gonna let people get to know you a little bit better. So it's basically things that you like that maybe are like unpopular with a lot of other people. Like you could have a guilty pleasure song or whatever else. So we're going to go through the list and you have to choose, or something that like you like and other people are like, why do you like that? You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Cool. Let's do it.
Okay. So the first one is a food that you like that others don't. So something that you like, but a lot of people think it's gross or whatever else.
Oh man. I could answer a couple. So like, I know a food I hate that a lot of people like. Uni, which is sea urchin. But like, it's not in the American palate. I know everybody in Japan loves it. I would say probably like pineapple on pizza. I really do like pineapple on pizza.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and a weird one could be like pineapple on a barbecue chicken pizza, which is pretty fucking good.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. A song that you like that's unpopular with others.
Oh, I could say an entire album actually. The newest Avenged Sevenfold album, they have a song called Ordinary, which I fucking love. But like a lot of people don't like their new album. Yeah.
I haven't listened to it. I need to check that one out.
It's weird.
Is it? Okay.
It's weird.
A vocalist that you like that may be unpopular with others.
I feel like a famous vocalist is like famous for a reason, right? So I don't honestly probably Matt Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold. These are all going to be Avenged Sevenfold because I swear to God, people are like, I hate his voice, and I'm like, I love it.
Well, everyone like that's the beauty. The variety is the spice of life. We're entitled to our own opinions,
Totally.
Okay, this is not music related. A car that you like that others don't.
Oh, I really like Teslas.
Okay, like that new truck. I can't stand that new one that they have. It looks like it's out of Tron.
I don't hate it, but it looks like a piece of shit.
It does. It looks like it's like out of some dystopian, like future horrible place or something.
Yeah, I do love Teslas though, and I love the self-driving. It's so sick.
Okay, a game that you like that's unpopular with a lot of other people.
Monopoly.
Okay, I like that game. It does take a long time though. So
a lot of people don't like Monopoly.
I like it, like a lot of people I think don't like Scrabble either, which I like that game, but I get really mad if I lose. So
I've never played Scrabble, so
really,
yeah,
it's fun. It's fun, but it can get annoying. Like if some people are just like going for points and not like trying to make the board sprawl out, it's annoying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
A movie you like that's unpopular with other people.
That one's tough.
It's always when you're on the spot. Like, it's one of those things you think of it later. It's like, oh, I should have said that.
Yeah, a movie that I like that nobody else really cares for.
And it could be like no one in your friend group cares for.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I almost don't watch enough movies. I don't know. I feel like if I was to think of a show, I would say like The Boys.
Okay.
Have you
That
seen
was
The
the
Boys?
next question. There's a TV show. No, I haven't. I haven't watched it.
I'd probably say The Boys for sure. Yeah, I just don't watch many movies.
What's The Boys?
It's fucked up. It's really
Oh,
fucked
really?
up.
Oh boy. What channel is it on? Or like
It's
what
on
network?
it's on Amazon Prime, but it's like it's about a it's about it's like a spin on superheroes where they're like it's more of a company based and they're not really good guys, they're actually all pieces of shit. And then there's a group called the Boys that are trying to take out the superheroes that are not powerful.
Well, actually sounds interesting.
It is,
like
but
it.
it's extremely gruesome.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Forewarning.
Okay. Well, and that was the last one. So have you thought of a movie or we're lost on that one?
I don't know. I feel like maybe it's gotta be like a Marvel movie of some sort. What Marvel movie? Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I thought that was a really good movie. I know a lot of people didn't like that.
Okay. Yeah. Those have mostly been popular, but yeah, I think you're right. I haven't heard much good
The
stuff. about
Guardians
the last.
3 was a lot of people
Yeah.
did not like that one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well done. We got through all of those questions.
Thank you.
So
That was the
another-
hardest one.
Yeah. So another question that I always ask everybody is, there's the whole saying like, is rock dead or rock is dead? And for me, the concept of this show is like, no, it's in fact not. It's, it's just in flux. It's alive and well. It's just, forever changing. So I'm always curious to know, you as musicians, especially in that genre, what are your thoughts on people saying that?
I would have agreed with them if they said this 10 years ago, but today it's thriving more than it has in a long time. And there's a couple factors behind it. One of the factors is that we have some big personalities in the scene, which is super important. And another factor is that we have good music. Another factor is that not everybody sounds the same as the other person, because that was a very big issue. And this honestly, it was like almost like the early 2004s or early 2000s to like maybe 2017, maybe a little bit later. It's just everybody sounded the fucking same. And it was like kind of an issue. There was this like blip in the scene era of things, but then like it died down again, and everybody just started sounding the same again. Nowadays we have very diverse music and a lot of diverse musicians in the rock scene, which I think is super important. Another really big thing is Taylor Swift, because this girl is on stage playing guitar, and it is getting other younger audiences into guitar music. And not only that, but she has Paramore out with her. So Paramore's on the Eras tour. So these people are seeing Paramore open up for Taylor Swift, and they're like, oh, I like Paramore. It's really easy to go from, Paramore to Fame on Fire. It's really easy to go from Paramore to Fallen in Reverse. It's really easy to make these parallels. And so like, I think it's very cool.
Yeah, and I think Paramore is it's a good gateway drug, for lack of a better term, because it's a little of everything, and they're a little bit more pop, but it can lead you down like a heavier path.
Totally, 100%.
Let me ask you this. So I have two additional questions for you. So one is like, what do you think about the whole like Nickelback and Creed coming back into popularity based on like what were you saying about like the earlier 2000s?
I'm totally cool with Nickelback, and I'm totally cool with Creed too. Like I really do. I think they've made some amazing music. And I think it's fine. I really do think it's fine. I don't really have an issue.
Why do you think they got a bad rap?
Nickelback got a bad rap because people just wanted to not like their music. And like I get it, sometimes it could be like a little like tasteless in a sense, but it's like that was the time. That was what was going on in those like early 2000s, was that style of music. And I think Nickelback has some of the greatest melodies of all time.
They had a method and they stuck with it for sure.
Yeah, and they were always the way that they were. My only issue with Nickelback right now is that I watched their documentary recently.
I did too. Yeah.
And I just wish they went into more depth on things. Like, what the fuck happened to your drummer? And why is he fine now? Like, what happened to Chad's voice? How did he heal that? I wanted to know the little, like, the details of it all. I want to know the fine details. But, like, no knock on them. I like they're fucking awesome. They have some of the coolest sounding recordings of all time. And also, like, Creed has some of the greatest songs of all time as well. So it's like I'm totally cool with these bands coming back. Like, it doesn't hurt any of us. It just helps.
No, and I'm kind of glad they're getting like a moment of retribution in some ways, because like they got a lot of flack for a long time.
I totally agree with you.
Now, here's the other question. I think to what we were saying earlier, like there is that edge and that grit to rock music. And I think some, not all, but some of the newer metal music that's come out is maybe a little bit more produced and a little more polished than it used to be. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think that there is a line when you're recording and like going into production on your music that you want to like try to maintain? Like, where's the edge and where's like the polished line?
Right. I do think that it's important to have diversity in sounds, because a lot of bands will get the same mixing engineer, the same drum samples, and it becomes a little annoying. It becomes, you're like, okay, I get it.
It's homogenized. It's like
that's where it gets a little samey. Luckily the songs are different, but that's where it gets a little samey for me. But I do think it's important to have your own identity. I think it's important to have your own drum sounds. It's important to have your own guitar tones. I think having things are overproduced isn't necessarily a bad thing, because what is overproduction really? It's just like, is it better songwriting? Does it sound better? What is being overproduced? I think a lot of things though these days is like a lot of things are being mixed almost too well. Vocals are being too tuned. Like, I think that could definitely roll back a little bit, because I've always been a fan of a little bit more raw nuances of the rock music. But, sometimes like it's all people know how to do. And sometimes people want to have that, that just standard sound and let their songs carry them.
The only worrisome thing is when you go live, which is like the critical component of being in a successful band now, you're not going to have that absolute perfection necessarily, which in essence is like one of the great things about live music, right? But like you've got to be able to, like I think for me, like that's where a line is, because you want to be as close as you can to the record.
I mean, you can still get pretty close live.
Yeah. If you're a tight band and you're careful about like recording versus live, I think like here's a question: when you all are recording, do you have the live show in mind when you're writing songs and recording them, or do you not really think about it?
Well, yeah, I'll be like, hey, that's too high for me to sing, and like, no, you can sing. I was like, yeah, but what about live? I'm like, oh, you can figure it out.
And on tour, if you have to do it over and over and over again, you don't want to blow out your voice.
Yeah, songs like Spiral and even Nightmare is just so unbelievably high. I was like, hey, that's really high for me to sing. It's like, well, we can't really, it's going to sound bad if we pitch down the recording, if we pitch down the guitar more, because the guitar's already dropped fucking hell. So let's, you can pitch it down live. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I go to the band, it's like, hey, can we pitch this down? They're like, no.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, Bryan, thank you for being on the show. It's been really nice to get to know you and talk to you. Do you have anything else? Yeah, of course. Do you have anything else you want listeners to know? So you're on all the streaming platforms. You can find you on YouTube.
Yeah. You can find us literally anywhere you think or anywhere you want to listen to your music, you can find us there. And then we're going on tour with Wage War in September.
Social handles?
Yeah. Just Fame on Fire, fameonfireband.com. Just look up Fame on Fire. You will find everything. Just Google Fame on Fire.
Yeah, that's a good one, because, other bands like Health, I love them, but if you Google them, you got to make sure you write band, because if you type in Health, anything will pop up. So.
Yep. Yeah, for us, just Google Fame on Fire, and there we are.
Nice. Well, thank you again, Bryan. It was great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.